The former CAG, in an exclusive interview to Times Now, has squarely put the blame of almost all the scams that rattled UPA2 on the former Prime Minister's shoulders. We have with us former Union Minister, Mr. Kamal Nath. He says that you tried to warn the Prime Minister in the 2G spectrum allocation, but the PM didn't pay any heed. Is that true?
Well, I wrote to the Prime Minister. I spoke to him, and I wrote to him saying that there are some matters of concern in this, and that a committee should be appointed, a group of ministers or a cabinet committee or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I did write to him.
So, sir, it was a well-known fact within the cabinet or within the council that Mr. A. Raja, who was the then telecom minister, was indulging in these practices?
Well, it was not known to what extent he was doing, but anyway, Mr. Raja is now being prosecuted, and his case is in the courts. So the courts will decide that to what extent and if at all he was connected with it.
But you feel if at that point the Prime Minister had intervened and listened to the advice that you gave him, things would have been different for the Congress politically and otherwise also for the government, for the former government?
Well, I cautioned the Prime Minister and I suggested this committee because I was concerned from what I was hearing and what I was learning and what I was assimilating that things were getting derailed. I'm sure that if he had acted differently, maybe things would have been different.
And the Congress would not have had to suffer the worst defeat that you all have faced?
Well, we have suffered the worst defeat and the people have responded to it.
Do you also feel, Mr. Kamal Nath, that if in the middle of the tenure, because there was so much criticism of the government and how the Prime Minister didn't intervene, if the High Command had decided to change the Prime Minister, that also would have sent a message, a strong message to the people?
I don't think the Prime Minister was himself in any way involved in anything. So changing the Prime Minister meant that the Prime Minister himself is involved or is...
So culpability is not only when you're directly involved, but when you're letting corruption take place right under your nose, isn't that?
I don't think the Prime Minister knew the enormity or the gravity of what was happening.
Warnings coming from people like that.
Yeah, but he did not have I don't think he assessed the enormity of it. And I don't think that was the answer at any point of time.
Mr. Kamal Nath, he also says, the former CAG, that during the PAC proceedings, certain Congress leaders who were then part of the PAC tried to tell him that, listen, please leave the Prime Minister out. He names leaders like Sandeep Dixit, like Ashwini Kumar, like Sanjay Nirupam.
Well, I don't know whether they did so or no. I think they need to respond to this, not me, whether they told them. But I doubt it very much that they would say that, please fudge your report and don't put the Prime Minister's name. And that did not happen. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, this is now a dead horse. To flog it is no purpose. And it's a thing of the past. It's in the courts. And Mr. Vinod Rai raking up at this point of time, I don't know what his intentions are. But really, there's nothing which comes out of it which is new.
Finally, sir, he's also writing a book. Do you worry that more skeletons might tumble out of the closet? Because I'm sure he's kept some stuff in the book as well.
I don't think there are any skeletons to tumble out. If there were any skeletons, it's all history now.
And when he says that the Prime Minister could have prevented not just the 2G losses, but CWG as well as coal, do you agree with him? Do you think things would have played out very differently if the Prime Minister had shown some strength and grit at that point?
It's very easy to be smart and be very knowledgeable in retrospect. The question is, at that given point of time, what did one know? And so in retrospect and in hindsight, everybody is very smart.
Thank you so much. Former Union Minister Kamal Nath says that he did warn the Prime Minister, and he also says that perhaps things would have played out differently politically for the Congress if the Prime Minister had listened. Nandita Suneja in Delhi for Times Now.